see it firsthand will be able to. All right. So here are tonight's topics. We've got a host of things to discuss. These are our most frequently asked questions from our students and parents who are new to Plano Senior High School. We're going to talk about graduation requirements, about how to navigate our campus, and how to handle our lunch schedule. We'll talk about what the school day will look like with 0 hour and senior release. We will talk about class levels, honors, AP, and dual. What do all those things mean? What's the difference? We'll talk about making changes to your schedule. I'm going to go over some information about GPA and rank, as well as clubs and activities here at Plano Senior High. We will start the conversation about what it looks like to get ready for college as a junior, which will include using our new program called SchooLinks. And then lastly, information for how to get to know your counselor. So again, for those who are just logging in, we're hovering around 150 participants, which is way more than I thought I'd have tonight. So again, thank you all very much for logging in. If you have questions, you are going to put them in the chat, and I will either get to them as we go, or at the end, we're going to go back and answer questions. Our goal for the night is to provide information that's helpful for students who are new to Plano Senior. So that is mostly our rising 10th to 11th graders. However, for our current students, if you're already an 11th grader at Plano Senior, there's probably some information that can help you as you move into senior year. So before we dive into these topics, let's talk a little bit about us. So again, my name is Giovanna James. I am the lead counselor here at Plano Senior High, but I don't do any of this by myself. Tonight, we've got a couple counselors who are going to be manning the chat. Lance Davis, Dr. Davis, is one of those counselors. He is a counselor here at Plano Senior High School. He's been here for a long time, and he has seen a little bit of everything, and he's going to be helping with your questions in the chat. And then I think we have Ms. McConaughey from Clark. I believe that she is with us as well. She's the lead counselor at Clark, and she will also be answering some questions in the chat as I'm giving the presentation. I'm not looking at the chat, so they're going to be my eyes answering questions for you guys. And if they don't answer your question during the chat, it's because we're going to hold it to the end, and then it's something that I can answer to the group. I do want to stress how much your counselors are a resource for you during this time. My main task as the lead counselor here at Plano Senior High is to help coordinate the efforts of our counseling program as a whole. So we work together collaboratively to come up with plans, to share information, to share ideas. So I highly encourage you to reach out to your counselor at Vines or at Clark, or if you're already in 11th grade, at Plano Senior, and they can really help with those specific questions. My goal tonight is to give some kind of general information, but those questions that are really specific to your students' graduation plan and your student schedule are going to be best answered by them. And Maggie Lee, our lead counselor at Vines, is here as well. So I actually have a picture of the three of us together at a conference. And one of the things that we also do as lead counselors is we communicate and we work collaboratively together also. And just a little bit about me as the lead counselor here at Plano Senior. I've been a counselor in Plano ISD for 9 years. I was a teacher at Plano West. I was a counselor at Vines. So I've seen this process from multiple perspectives. I am also a parent in Plano, and I have children making 2 transitions. I have a student transitioning from 8th grade to 9th, and then I have another one transitioning from 10th to 11th. So I'm seeing this both from this perspective and from yours. So I'm excited to be able to help. All right, let's dive in. So our first topic is just graduation requirements. This is printed in a lot of different places. There's a lot of places where you can find this information, but in order to successfully complete high school, students must earn 26 credits, and then they are passing 5-star end of course or EOC exams. Now, most of our students graduate with more than 26. So if you start counting and doing the math and realizing that your student is probably going to finish with 28 or even 30, that's absolutely fine. 26 is the threshold, but most of our students graduate with even more than that. They have to have 4 credits in each of the core subjects: English, math, science, and social studies. They will need 2 credits of a foreign language, and it needs to be in the same language. So Spanish 1 and 2, ASL 1 and 2, Chinese 1 and 2, that type of thing. They need a credit of fine art and a credit of PE, half a credit of health and speech, and then everything else is counts as an elective. An elective is anything they do in addition to those requirements. So let's say you have a student that's going to play football for 4 years. Their PE credit will come from that first year of football. That's where they will earn their graduation requirement. The next 3 then count as electives. So anything that they do in any category that goes above and beyond those minimums count as electives. And then lastly, the students are going to take 5-star tests. You'll hear them call them EOCs also, because they are end of course exams. And for those of you leaving 10th grade, going into 11th grade, your students should be about halfway through. We expect our students to have earned 13 credits in order to promote to the senior high. And so that means they've done about half of these requirements when they finish 11th grade. And promotion is based on number of credits earned, not how much time you have spent. So ideally, it would take them 2 years to complete those 13 credits, and then they would promote. But it's the 13 credits or having that halfway point that will determine promotion from Vines or Clark to Plano Senior. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about our campus. It is big. So I've got an overhead map of what Plano Senior High looks like. Some of you may have been here before, maybe you haven't. We have a similar bell schedule to the one at Clark and Vines, where school starts at 9 and ends at 4:15. However, some of you may have heard that the school board has passed a resolution that for next year, the bell schedule will end at 4:25. We have not determined how we will break that down amongst our class periods, but we're going to end at 4:25 next year, as will Vines and Clark. All 9 through 12 schedule is going to shift just a bit, and this will allow for a few extra days off during the school year. So that 10 minutes gets added up, and then we're going to have a few more days off during the year. One of the things the students look forward to the most when they promote to Plano Senior High is getting a full class period for lunch. The way that it is broken down is we have either A or B lunch, and it's paired with their 4th period. So class is 50 minutes, lunch is 50 minutes. Students have the ability to leave campus during that time, but they also can stay here. We have a full service cafeteria in our C building right at the center of campus, but they can leave if they would like. Mama's and Country Burger are very popular lunch spots around here for our Plano Senior High students, although that can start to get expensive. So they are more than welcome to eat right here on campus. We have enough space to accommodate all our students. They just have to make sure that they are back in time for 5th period. We have a 6-minute passing period, and it may seem like a lot, but since 1976, our Plano Senior High Wildcats have been making it to class. We give them a little warning bell about halfway through that passing period. And to be completely honest, most students don't even start making their way to class till they hear the warning bell. So the first few days for our new kids, it takes a minute to figure out the best path around campus, but in no time, they're navigating our campus just fine. Students can purchase parking passes. We have 2 student parking lots, and they can either just get a general parking pass, which allows them to park in any student space, or they can get a personalized space. If you've been to our campus, you may see that Some of the spaces are painted in real cool colors and patterns. Those students have purchased a personalized space, and that is their space for the year. They are the only ones who can park in those spaces. So on our map, if you're concerned, well, what if my student has a class in A building and F? Most of the academic classes at Plano Senior High are between A and B buildings. B building is actually our main building. If you were to park in the faculty and visitor lot off of Independence, you're going to enter into B building. That is where the main office, that's where counseling is, and that's where our math, science, and a lot of our CTE classes are located in B building. A building is where primarily our English, social studies, foreign language classes are. So we have quite a few students who are just going between A and B building, and then they go to C building for the cafeteria and for the library. If your student is enrolled in a performing art, band, orchestra, choir, theater, dance, they will also have a class in D building. That is the big theater building. On the other side of the pond is the gym. So for pep rallies, all the students go to building E. If they are in a sport, they'll go to building E. And then F, the football players use F primarily. That is our outdoor activity center. Most students don't ever even see the inside of that, but if you've ever had to drop a student off for a sports camp in the summer, that's the building where you did that. So it is a big campus, and there are some opportunities for students to start to get a feel for it before school even starts, so that when they do come, they're not feeling lost. But there will be a little of that learning curve as they navigate it, but within no time, they'll get the hang of it. And most students love it. They love the pond and the fountain. They love the freedom, being able to be outside. And especially once the trees are all full, it's a beautiful campus. Okay. Now, as I said, the bell schedule here at Plano Senior High is about the same as the one that you have experienced at Vines and Clark, with a couple noticeable differences. We have the opportunity for students who would like to start their day a little earlier to request what we call a 0 hour. The students can request to take a class at 8 a.m. and we refer to that class period as 0 hour. Now, there are a limited number of classes at 0 hours, so not every class has that option. So when you meet with your counselor to choose your classes, if you want to request 0 hour, you will let the counselor know. And then if we can accommodate that, it will end up in your schedule for next year. There is also no bus transportation available for 0 hours. So if a student chooses that 8 a.m. option, then they need to either they're driving themselves to school or their parents driving them to school, something like that. If the student is reliant on the school bus, then they will need their day to start at 9 a.m. for first period. The benefit of 0 hour is that their day will then end after 6th period. They can get out a little early, go to work. If they're picking up a younger sibling after school, it helps accommodate that. 9 a.m. is a standard start. That's what most of our students do. They start at 9 a.m. and then they go through till 7th period at the end of the day. If the student is an athlete, because they have practice either before or after school, that they will choose the standard schedule to accommodate that. All right, once the students become seniors, then they have the opportunity for a reduced school day, and they can reduce their school day by 1 or 2 class periods, and we call that the senior release. In order to qualify for this, the student has to have no credit deficiencies. The way that they're able to qualify, if you remember, they need 26 credits to graduate, but 7 class periods times 4 years is 28. So that means that there's a little extra room where if they have stayed on top of all their credits in that last year of high school, they can take a class off. They must have be caught up on all their credits, and they must have passed all their STAR end of course exams as well. In order to qualify to get the 2 class periods off, the students have to be enrolled in 3 or more college level classes. So that would be AP or dual credit, which we'll talk about what those are in just a little bit. This is something that the seniors very, very much look forward to, the ability to be out of here. Some of our seniors, they will even request a 0 hour. So their day starts at 8 a.m. and then they'll ask for 6 period senior release. So they're actually finished with their school day after 5th period, which is about 2:30. So that's a nice little day. And then there is an option that applies to juniors or seniors. And this is entering our vocational work class and program. This is a great option if you have a student who works more than 15 hours a week and would like to be able to use that in lieu of having to take electives in the afternoon. If this is something you want to explore, talk to your counselor at Vines or Clark or at Plano Senior about how to enroll in the career prep vocational work program. Again, the student has to work 15 or more hours a week, and they can qualify for leaving early in order to go to work. So our school day has lots of different options. The kids have a lot of freedom here at the senior high, and you'll see students sitting in the library or walking around campus, and that's often because their schedules can all be very different. They don't all have the exact same daily schedule because of these different options. Next, we're going to talk about class levels. We have 4 different levels of classes that students can take here in high school. And they really are, the only one that's in addition to what your kiddos could have done at Vines or Clark is the dual credit. So grade level or on-level classes, that's what most of our students take. They are classes that are taught at grade level curriculum based on the state of Texas requirements for that class. And when calculating the student's grade point average, they can earn up to a 4.0 in those classes, depending on the grade that they get. Now, there are a few classes that we call distinguished courses that are on-level courses that earn more than that. There's only a few, and they're mostly senior level career technology type classes. Okay, so then next you have honors courses. So in an honors course, if a student chooses to do this, the curriculum is going to extend a little beyond the grade level. So these classes are going to be a little more involved. They're going to go deeper into the subject matter. The speed and rigor of the class is going to be a little bit more. Some of your students may have already been taking honors level classes in middle school or in 9th and 10th grade. In an honors class, the student can earn up to 4.5 grade points, depending on, again, how well they do in that class. The goal of the honors classes is really to allow those students to extend themselves, go a little deeper into the subject matter, and just get a little bit more learning than they may get in the on-level class. The last 2 categories are both college earning classes, college credit earning classes. Advanced placement or AP classes, those are offered at 9-10, and then we have a ton here at our level. In Plano ISD, we offer just about every advanced placement course that a student can take, I think with the exception of Latin and Japanese. Those are the only 2 that we don't have. Other than that, we have them all. Advanced placement classes are a very rigorous college level curriculum. They are considered our most rigorous classes. And as a result, for those classes, the student can earn up to a 5.0 on their GPA for taking those classes. Students can earn college credit based on the score they get on the AP exam. So if a student takes AP US History and they score a 3, it's scored on a 5-point scale. So if they score a 3, they may be able to earn credit for a college level US History class. What kind of credit they will get in college does greatly vary on the school. I think it's important for, as you start to think about the schools that your son or daughter may want to go to the school's website and do a search for AP credit equivalencies to see what they offer. Some schools, if you earn a 3 on the AP exam, they will give you credit. Some may want it to be a 4 or a 5. Some schools, like in the example of US history, if you earn a 3, maybe they'll give you 1 semester of US history. But if you earn a 4 or 5, they'll give you 2 semesters of it. It really varies by college. So it's hard to answer the question of are you guaranteed college credit or will you get it? It depends on where you go. It can even depend on your major. Now, the other type of college credit that we offer, which is only at the senior high level at this point, is Collin College dual credit. This differs from AP in that these classes are taught by Collin College instructors. They follow Collin College curriculum, but they are taught on our campus. So the student does not have to go to the Collin College campus to take this class. They are taught here, but the instructors come to us from Collin and teach the classes in our classroom. We call it dual credit because the student will earn high school and college credit simultaneously. So when you finish a dual credit class, you have 2 transcripts. Excuse me. Ooh, doing a lot of talking. You will have 2 transcripts, one from Plano Senior High and then one from Collin College. So let's say you choose to take dual credit English. You will get, as a junior, you would get credit for English 3 from Plano Senior High School, but then Collin College would give you credit for English 1301 and 1302. The benefit of a dual credit class is that there is no exam at the end that's going to determine your credit. If you pass the class, you get the credit. They aren't quite as rigorous as the advanced placement or AP program. So for that reason, we award up to 4.5 grade points for these classes. Now, just like AP, whether or not a dual credit class is accepted by a college will vary based on the college. Here in Texas, especially with our state institutions, they have dual credit agreements. So you can feel confident that if you go to a Texas institution and you earn dual credit at Collin College, which is another Texas institution, they are going to take it. For students who may be looking out of state or at some elite private schools, that is where you'll want to really do some research, and your counselor can help you with where to look to find that information. These classes are offered to all 11th and 12th graders. So as you are choosing your classes for next year, all 4 of these are available to any students. We have open enrollment for our dual credit and our AP classes. That means that any student who is interested can take any class as long as you meet the prerequisites. Okay. So we get this question a lot. Can I change my classes later? The answer is yes and no. So right now, you are in the process of choosing classes for next school year. You're either going to be meeting with your counselor at Clark or at Vines. If you're in a current 11th grader, you're going to meet with your counselor at Plano Senior High, and you will sit down and go over exactly what it is that you need for next year. But let's say come April, you hear about a program that you really want to do. Just let your counselor know and we can change that. So any course selection that you make January and February, you have until the end of this school year to change that. After that, the courses that the student has chosen are the courses they are committed to taking. We follow the district's course selection and course change policy pretty strictly at Plano Senior High. If the change that we will consider are level changes. So let's say you signed up to take honors pre-calculus, but after a while you think I really should be an on-level pre-calculus. That is the kind of change that can be considered. But elective changes, those generally are not. And we ask that students make good choices as they move up to this level because they are committed to those choices once the school year starts. If a student needs to make a level change, Those will be considered after the third week of the semester. So they've got to give it a few weeks to really try to really see if they can do it. If after that they have worked with their teacher, student and parent have been communicating with the teacher, they've gone to tutorials, they've done everything they can, and it's just not working, then you can request a level change. And our curriculum principal, Dr. Prince, she is the one that either grants or denies that level change. All right. So it's really important that during these next couple months, as you have the opportunity to talk to your counselors about the classes you're choosing, set those meetings, ask those questions so that you and the student can make some informed choices before you get to Plano Senior. All right, I'm gonna take a deep breath before I talk about GPA and drink a little water. I'm seeing some dual questions. I am looking at chat out of the corner of my eye, and I am seeing a lot of dual credit questions. We have a whole separate like dual credit nights because it is such a different thing that we have like a whole night just devoted to dual credit stuff because it can be a lot, and it is different than what parents are used to being at the 9th and 10th grade level. Okay, so I would like to talk just a little bit about grade point average and class rank, GPA for short. Up until this current graduating class of 2023, all students earn what was called a cumulative GPA. We just took every class that they took, they were all put together, and then their GPA was computed based on that, and that is how we determine class rank. Several years ago, the school board elected to change how we determine class rank, and this applies to all students now at this point, because our current graduating class of 2023, is the flagship class for this process. So students will now earn two different GPAs. One is called the cumulative GPA. This includes all high school classes taken, grades 9 through 12, plus some of those middle school classes high school classes you may have done, like Algebra 1, or if you did Spanish in middle school, those count. This is reported for all students. Every student will get a cumulative GPA. Then we have a second one that's called the ranking GPA. And based on this number, the class rank is determined. So whether or not a student is valedictorian or salutatorian, or whether or not they're in the top 10% of their class, it's based on the ranking GPA. This includes select core classes only. And if you want to know exactly what those classes are, on our website, we have a link to the list of those classes. I'll show you how to find all that towards the end. This includes select core classes only, but it's from grades 9 through 12, plus any of those high school credit earning middle school classes. This GPA is only reported if your student is in the top 10%. So if a student's in the top 10%, they will have two GPAs printed on their transcript. And the transcript is the record of all of your classes and grades that you took throughout high school. And our transcripts at Plano Senior High include the Vines and Clark grades. Technically, we are one school with 3 campuses. So when students graduate from Plano Senior High, everything they have done is there. And their rank and their GPA is all factored in from everything they did, Vines all the way up or Clark all the way up. Because again, we're technically a 4,500 student school that stretched across 3 campuses. We report in about February of the junior year. That is when students will find out whether or not they are in the top 10% of their class. We can't report that until the 2 schools come together. So it's in the junior year that they'll find out what their class rank is after the Vines and the Clark kind of fold together. And then they'll find out where they are. Actually, I said February, I misspoke. They first get it in the fall of junior year when the 2 come together, and then they'll get an updated one in February. So we update class rank and GPA at the end of the semesters. Oh, sorry. Now, why does all this matter? Here in Texas, there is a state rule that says that if a student is in the top 10% of their graduating class, they are automatically admitted to all Texas public universities, with one exception. At UT, you must be in the top 6%. So this is why that whole top 10% thing matters. However, I cannot stress enough, if a student is not in the top 10% of their graduating class, this does not mean that they won't get into college. It doesn't even mean they won't get into UT or A&M. It just means they are not automatically admitted. So from there, if a student is 11th or 12th or 20th percentile, that just means the school's now going to look at them holistically. They're going to look at their test scores, look at their grades, look at their activities, and make a decision. Versus if they're in the top 10%, then it's just automatic. They don't have to think about it. This is the type of thing where we're going to talk about even more when we start having college conversations about the students. But I know that this is something that as students move up to the senior high level, it's really on parents and students' minds. So just to summarize the whole GPA thing, the students earn 2 GPAs now, a cumulative GPA and a ranking GPA. There's a link on our Plano Senior High Counseling website where you can see what classes are in the ranking GPA. I'm going to show you that towards the end of our conversation. Class rank, top 10%, valedictorian, salutatorian is based on those core classes in the ranking GPA. So your English, math, science, social studies. So if a student has been in band for 4 years and they get 100 every time, that's not going in the ranking GPA. Only their core classes do. But that 100 they get in band every time does go into their cumulative GPA, which is reported for all students. And then if a student is in the top 10%, they get automatic admission. But if they're not in the top 10%, they're still going to apply. It just means that that school is going to evaluate them holistically. Whew. All right. In addition to all of the classes and all of that, I cannot stress enough the importance of getting involved. Students have the ability to get involved in curricular or even extracurricular activities. Curricular activities are instructor-led. They're part of their class schedule. So those are things like they're an AVID or if they're in band, student congress, theater, all of that. That goes into their schedule. But then we have a ton of extracurricular activities. These are more student-led. They often happen outside of the school day. These are the clubs and organizations that the students start. And if there's something that your student is passionate about and they want to start, then they have the opportunity to do that on their own. So getting involved, being part of our tradition of excellence that goes back to 1891 is what makes Plano Senior High such a great school. We are a very student-led school. You will see that in our daily announcements. You'll see it at graduation. We don't hire a speaker to come in. Our students run graduation and give all of the speeches. We have student advisory committees around campus that even give feedback to teachers about how we can be better as we're providing education for them. So we're a very student-led campus, and I highly encourage students to find that thing that they love or they want to be involved in. And if it doesn't exist, they can make it exist themselves. And I'm watching the chat go by out of the corner of my eye, and I see that there's a lot. So I'm thank you very much to my counselors who are in there answering questions. If they don't get to it, we're going to do our best to answer your questions. My overview is designed to give a lot of general information, but I know there's lots of specifics. Ultimately, if you don't get your specific question answered tonight, I cannot stress enough, please make an appointment with your counselor and he or she can help you with those specifics. But we are going to try to get to as many of these as we absolutely can. There's a lot of people here tonight, so there's a lot of questions going by. All right. Once you get to Plano Senior High, and this, I'm going to go back just a little bit and talk about the split. So it is a unique high school setup we have here in Plano. It was done this way on purpose. The idea back in the 70s was that you would have a high school that would build the foundation where students would get their core classes done. They would get that foundational learning. And then we would have a senior high where they would do college preparatory and career and vocational work. And that's why our schools are split. And so now that they move up to the senior high, getting ready for college and beyond really becomes the focus of why we're here. So here are some things that are important to happen in junior year. Junior year is the time to really start thinking about and making those post-high school plans. That thing that has seemed off in the distance for so long, once they rise up to be juniors, that thing is here. And now it's time to get the ball rolling. And we are absolutely here to help. I encourage you to attend college and career events throughout the school year. The counseling department hosts several of them throughout the year, and attending them, excuse me, attending them is going to help you feel knowledgeable and prepared about the process. Taking the SAT and ACT are important tasks during the junior year, so much so that we give one last PSAT or preliminary practice SAT to our juniors in October. But then in March of junior year or March of 11th grade, all juniors will take an official SAT. That test is free of charge. It is given here on campus and can be used and submitted to colleges for their college applications. So we want to be an active part of helping them get ready for the college process. So we give them an actual official SAT here at school. We have a new program that I'm going to talk just a little bit about in a moment called SchooLinks that you can use to help search, plan, and organize and get ready and then actively complete the steps in that post-high school, college, and career process. Go on college visits. Now, if you haven't done it, you could think, well, maybe now's the time to start. On our website, which again, I'm going to show you at the end, we keep a list of when colleges are having different events, and you can check that out. You can go to their website and you can sign up and you can go. And then lastly, talk to your counselor. I know I keep saying this, but you're going to hear this from me all the time. And here's the analogy that I like to use. Our elementary counselors prepare your students to go to middle school, and our middle school counselors prepare your students to go to high school. But your high school counselor has to be able to prepare you to go off in the 1,000 different directions that our students go off in. So there is no one answer. I do talks like this to give you general information, but you each have very specific needs. Every student is different. We are going to have 1,200 graduates this year. So that's 1,200 different paths as they go off and start their lives as young adults. So having those one-on-ones with your counselor is going to help you make those plans for your student. And even if you are someone that maybe hasn't used counseling services a lot before, that's okay. But as you make the transition to the senior high, taking that time to sit down with your counselor and just say, this is our goal. We want our student to go to college. We want our student to go to the military. We want our student to get some career training. And then we can help you make choices that will steer you in that direction. Woo! All right. So I'm going to briefly talk about that college and career platform that I mentioned. It's called SchooLinks. If you had an older child go through Plano ISD, we had a program called Naviance that we use, but we have this year migrated to SchooLinks. And I think I speak on behalf of all my counselors. We like this one better. It has a lot of great information that can help you as you're planning for college and career. And then once they become seniors, it's the thing that they're going to use to organize their college process. Every student has an account. They don't need any special logins or any special signups. If they go to their web desk, which is where they go to access all of their learning tools, they go to their web desk, they have the green icon there. They click on it, it opens the program up. There is a special login for parents, but I have to say it's kind of limited. It doesn't show you as much stuff as the student login. So my advice is to have your student take out their Chromebook or their laptop and just sit next to them and go through the student side, because that's where all the meat of the program really is. Okay. When the student logs into SchooLinks, what they're able to access will depend on their grade level. So what a 10th grade can see is different than what an 11th grader can see, and then it's different than what a 12th grader can see. So each year, different tools will open up based on where they are in this whole process. But just to give you a brief overview, under the school tab, which is the little green apple, that's where the student can see their unofficial transcript, test scores, and GPA. Now, I will say that our transcripts for the fall of 2022 have not been loaded into SchooLinks yet. That will probably happen at the beginning of February. So if you go into SchooLinks to look at a transcript, it doesn't have the fall 2022 grades on it yet, but it's coming. The next icon is the activities icon. This is where students can go and they can set goals, and they can also take personality and career assessments. So if you have a student that's like, I have no idea what I want to do or what I want to major in, they can take quizzes here on SchooLinks that can give them an idea of what could be a good direction for them to go in. The next tab is the colleges tab. This is where they can go to search for schools. You put in your criteria, you'll find the schools that meet that criteria, and they have schools of every type, of every level, career and technical schools, 2-year, 4-year, all of that is in there. And then from there, the student can build a list of schools that they have favorited. When they roll up to be a senior, then they're actually doing their application process based on that list. They are requesting transcripts and letters of recommendation and all that. Our seniors have found using SchooLinks super easy. We're very happy with this program versus the one we had before. The next tab is the careers tab. This is where they can explore career pathways or even build their resume. And then lastly is the finances tab. This is where we post scholarships. We get scholarship information on a daily basis, and my secretary posts it to SchooLinks. We also post it on our website. And this is where they get information about completing the FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid, which they'll hear a lot about in their senior year. Whew. Okay, so what else do we have? We're doing this tonight virtual, but then next week on Wednesday, the 18th, we want you guys to come to Plano Senior High. I can talk about it all night, and I could talk about it all night, but instead we want you to come and see it. So Calling All Cats happens next Wednesday from 6 to 8. You don't have to stay the 2 hours. It is a come and go open house type event. You will see teachers will be here talking about their classes, coaches, students will be here talking about their clubs. Our dual credit advisor, Kenzie Lopez, will be here. She is giving sessions about dual credit. So if you had a bunch of classes about questions about dual credit, you can come next week to Calling All Cats. But then she's also doing 3 different sessions, one hosted by Vines, one hosted by Clark, and one hosted by us. But you can go to any of them and get detailed information about dual credit, because I know there's lots of questions about that. Then later in May, I'm going to do another talk like this. I'm calling it Junior Jumpstart. It is geared towards juniors, but if you have a current sophomore and you want to hear about it, that is absolutely fine. The purpose of that is to talk about what college admission steps students need to take, because the process of applying to college starts the summer between junior and senior year. So we want them to leave junior year knowing what they need to do over the summer to apply to college. If your student is a current 10th grader, then in early August, it's usually a few days before school starts, we will have something called Cat Camp, where they're all going to come up here. They'll walk around, they'll have their schedules, they'll find their classes, they can join clubs, get spirit wear, and we have a big pep rally, and it's a great way to welcome them to Plano Senior High. Okay. Once again, these are our counselors. There are 16 of us, and we are in charge of about 4,500 students between our 3 different campuses. We work together to share information because there may be a thing that I don't know, but Dr. Davis has experienced it. Or there could be something that I need help with someone from one of my 9-10 campuses, and then I call them and they help. So we work collaboratively to provide the services that your students need so that they leave Plano Senior High with a plan. They leave feeling good, they leave graduated, and they leave ready to start their lives as young adults. So I've got this up on the screen. These are the people that you are going to reach out to with those specific questions about your student, because I've spoken in a lot of generals tonight, just giving a lot of basic information. But now those questions you have about your child and their situation, your counselor is the expert. And if your counselor, because there are some times where one of us doesn't know, we are really good at reaching out to each other and sharing information. I kind of pride myself in how well we work here in the Central Cluster, our 3 schools together. Just evidenced by the fact that we're all here tonight, the lead counselor from Vines, the lead counselor from Clark, and then one of my counselors is here supporting me as well. So it is our goal to be as big a support to you guys as we can. Whew, that was a lot. I know. I did the talking, so I know it was a lot. So where can you find more? I'm recording this presentation and I will make it available on our website. I'm going to put it in the course selection information section. Schedule an appointment with your current counselor. Counselors are ready to talk to you guys about your classes for next year. Information went home at all 3 campuses about how your student is going to pick their classes for next year. Take a look at that information, schedule those appointments so that you can get what you need for your student's unique situation. And then lastly, I encourage you to follow Plano Senior High on, if you do the social media thing, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, because as 10th graders, I want you to start seeing the events that we have because you may want to start attending them. So follow us on those social medias and you'll be able to see a lot. I am going to exit out of this and just show you our website. I'm hoping that you can see it. This is the Plano Senior High Counseling website. If you go to Plano Senior High's website and you click counseling, this is us. I update this regularly. I just put an update on there today because I wanted everything to be nice and spiffy and shiny for you guys tonight. The information that you will probably use the most right now is going to be in the course selection information section. Let's zoom in just a little bit. You click there, and there is a presentation that is very similar to the one that I just gave you already loaded up. We gave this presentation to our 11th graders, and I know that Vines and Clark have similar things for the 10th graders. We are going to be at Vines and Clark. I almost forgot about that. On Friday, Plano Senior High counselors and Plano Senior High students, because again, we're a very student-driven campus. So we're taking our seniors to talk to your 10th graders about what they need to do to be successful at Plano Senior High. We will be at Vines on Friday talking to the students, and then we're going to be at Clark on Tuesday. We are very much looking forward to that. You guys had questions about things like what courses are available. Tell me more about GPA and class rank. If you go to our counseling website, you click on course selection information. I've got links to all that there. Also where I'm going to put this presentation once I've got it all uploaded and edited and such. In addition to that, I publish a monthly newsletter. Our current juniors and seniors get it delivered to their email. But if you just want a sneak peek at everything going on in the counseling center here at Plano Senior High, you can go to our website and see the monthly newsletter and see what we've got going on. If you want to, as a 10th grader, or maybe you're an 11th grader, really start looking at the college application process. If you click on applying to college, there's a presentation there you can look at, as well as a bunch of links and more resources. And you can listen to me talk some more about college and SchooLinks and all of that. I'm gonna go back to this. Okay, again, I know that was a lot, and it was my goal to kind of give a general overview of things. Let me see, I'm going to unmute. Ooh, gosh, there's a lot of you in here. I think I'm going to check in with my counselors to see if there's anything that I need to answer to everyone. Dr. Davis, is there anything, any questions that you think I should answer for the group?
No, Ms. James, I think that you pretty much covered most everything.
Okay. Let me see. Ms. McConaughey at Clark, do you think there's anything that I should answer for the group? I could see out of the corner of my eye that the chat was just buzzing.
You know, it is, and actually we got a great question right here about, is there any type of open house at Clark real soon? And I appreciate that just popped up because it's tomorrow night. We're doing our Calling All Cats, and it's for 8th grade families, but really we're inviting anybody at Clark to come to the Calling All Cats tomorrow night. And all of our classes and our teachers are there to explain all of our courses. And then we've got Calling All Cats with you guys next week, so that they can see the long-term projection. So the Clark one is tomorrow night, and then Calling All Cats is next week.
Okay, thank you. If there's anything anyone wants to pop into the chat, I'm looking at the chat right now. So there's a question about 504 students. You will have a meeting with your 504 coordinator at Vines or Clark, depending on the campus that you're at. And if you want to make sure that happens, you can reach out to them to schedule it. And then they're going to talk about transition of services, what services you may want to make sure you keep for 11th grade. Maybe there's some that you think it's time to let go of. That transition meeting can happen. And if you want to take the initiative to reach out to your 504 coordinator on your campus, you can absolutely do that. Is there anything else? I'm going to hang out for just a few more minutes. If in case someone does, I will let participants unmute. And I appreciate you allowing me to mute everybody. It's just we got up to almost 180 people, and that's a lot of people. So I couldn't have everybody talking at once. But I'm going to allow if someone does need to unmute, but if you can put your questions in the chat. I'm going to hang out for a few more minutes, but my partner counselors, thank you guys so much. If you all want to log off, please feel free to do so. And like I said, I'll stay and answer questions for a few more minutes. And if you have gotten all the information that you need, thank you all for coming. I'm a little overwhelmed at how many people took the time to be here tonight. We are so looking forward to having your students join us at Plano Senior High next year. Okay, let's see.